the Madman! And now for the neutral cards. My Witchwood card star ratings.
Hey.
We're gonna start off with a really spicy one. My vote for the #1 most impactful card of the set, Baku the Moon Eater. We didn't know if even odd was going to be a thing. Odd is a real thing. Upgrading your hero power since turn 1 so that you can use it on turn 2 and then gain value every single even turn from then. Well, odd turns as well. And I think that the tier 1 deck that will be spawned off of this is Baku Hunter. Base Hunter being able to deal 3 damage from the get-go with their hero power instead of 2. Taunt Warrior, all odd, doesn't lose that much, and you get the tank up from turn 1. It seems like it'll let you survive until you complete the quest. Odd Mage, looks like it can generate ridiculous amounts of value with 2 mana, deal 2 damage. I think Baku is going to have a huge impact. 5 stars. Cauldron Elemental. Elementals are not really looking for something to buff them on turn 8. 1 star. The Ranged Doctor. It's too slow. 1 star. Gul'dan Rail Guard. Even though this card is fast, she's just a bit too slow and fragile in the 8-3 version. Anyways, there was some theory crafting of Lady in White, but I think the card itself is not strong enough to run solo. 1 star. Splitting Fester Root. It's a big card you could cheat out, but you pay too much mana for the stickiness. 1 star. Azalina Soul Thief, hailed by many initially as a neutral Divine Favor. Divine Favor turns out to be pretty bad at 7 mana. 1 star. Countess Ashmore. She made it into my honorary mention for top 10, which kind of implies I think of her as 11-ish. That said, there are a lot of decks that can use her, and because she fits into Q block easily, even though I'm not entirely sure that she'll actually stay in Q block, 4 stars. 7 mana, 10 stats, Darkmire Moonkin. Enough said. 1 star. Furious Etten. I did consider putting this in my odd taunt warrior, so I wouldn't be surprised if this actually saw play. That said, despite my lack of surprise if it does see play, I still think it won't see play. 1 star. Gorgon Abomination is also less bad than I thought, but I don't really see any deck that's going to make use of this, and yeah, that's a pretty expensive card. 1 star. Wormguard as a monstrous 4/11 as long as you're holding a dragon, and pretty easy to hold a dragon by turn 7, I'd say. I give Wormguard 3 stars. I have him as 3 star because I've put him into my Spiteful Summoner deck, which I've labeled a tier 1 deck, but I'm not entirely sure whether or not he'll be a mainstay in that deck. Genna Grainmane. Well, he's no Baku, but I still did look at every single class that could use Gen, and the 2 most likely that I see are Paladin and Warlock. Paladin looks like a fair deck, which means it's probably not going to be great. Warlock looks like it's going to be some sort of handlock type deck, and I feel like it performs worse than Q block. That said, there's a lot of possibilities out there for him, and if he makes it into multiple tier 4 decks, then I think this rating is accurate. 3 stars. Bossy Horror is going to be a decent tech card that you'll pull out if there happens to be a lot of minions with 2 or less attack. I could see it as a one of in quite a few decks. Tech card, which I will label as 3 stars. Chief Inspector, just like Mossy Horror, this rating of 3 stars for also the Chief Inspector is just, these are great tech cards. I expect to see them in and out sometimes, not just in this set, but also in future sets. But remember that my star ratings are for exactly this expansion. So I might be wrong this expansion, maybe they don't actually see play, but I'm near certain that at one point over the next 2 years, they're going to see play as a useful tech card. Clockwork Automaton. People think that they can get their huge hero powers off, and I just think it's gross overkill. So I'm going to rate this one 1 star. No, I don't think you should run it in your odd Taunt Warrior deck. Disgusting overkill and completely unnecessary, I'd say. Duelmaster Durian, really unique combo card. I think just a little bit too unique. And I'm gonna end up rating Durian a 1 star card because there's no theory craft of this where it actually works. It just looks really cool. Muck Hunter, I had high hopes for the Warrior Rush package, but sadly, like I said in the class reviews for Warriors, I think the Rush package is good, but the Warrior class cards aren't very good, so I think any deck with this a very good Rush package will still be tier 3 at best, so 3 stars, Mud Hunter. Rotten Apple Bomb. In the world of aggro that is about to befall us, I think Rotten Apple Bomb stands as the bastion of control to toss a speed bump in their way. And I think this is a decent speed bump. I'm gonna rate this 5 stars. Just like its brother, Rotten Apple Bomb, Witchwood Grizzly is also a good anti-aggro tool. At the end of the day, I'm not actually sure which one wins out over the other. They both have advantages and disadvantages over the other, but Grizzly, I also rate 5 stars. Witchwood Grizzly gets a nice bonus for being an excellent pull from Master Oakheart as well. Also Inquisitor, that's a 1/6 for 4. 1 star. Life Drinker. I feel like this is the combo card that will kill your opponent as your Shudderwock deck, and therefore when this guy tags along with what I'm pegging as a tier 1 upcoming deck of the Shudderwock combo deck, the Life Drinker will be 5 stars. Mad Hatter. 2 stars. Why is it not 1? Well, I actually have a little bit of holdout hope that this card is actually good in Zoo. Also apparently has some possible applications in a Shudderwock deck, which are going over my head at the moment. I think that's a terrible idea, but maybe Shudderwock's gonna be throwing hats, I have no idea. Night Prowler, 1 star. Condition, I think, truly is too difficult in this case, unlike a certain sleeper card of the last set. Sandbinder, hitch your wagon onto the Shudderwock train, because Sandbinder is going to be the card that makes Shudderwock decks more consistent. So I rated this card very surprisingly number 5, I believe, in my top 10 list, and 5 stars because it gets you the combo pieces in the Shudderwock deck. Skillworm. I see this as a card that's great in Spiteful Dragon Priest. Just because I'm not entirely sure that dragons are going to be the only way that Spiteful Priest is built, I've only rated this a 4 star, which means that there is some doubt in my mind at least that maybe it actually doesn't see play. Swift Messenger. Across a lot of different decks this card could see play. I didn't quite manage to peg down a spot for it, but every single time I was trying to look for a card with Ashmore, I was like, I might as well put a Swift Messenger in. So for that reason, I'm going to rate her 3 stars. Unpowered Steambot. No, this does not make Lady in White good. 1 star. Witchwood Piper. I admit this is one of the ones I could be sleeping on, because I do see the potential in it. As highly as I rated Sandbinder for getting you the combo pieces of Murmuring Elemental or Grumble, Witchwood Piper could get you your Murmuring Elementals as the lowest cost in that Shudderwock deck. However, because I'm running cards like Loot Hoarder and Thalnos in that deck as well, Witchwood Piper is not as consistent as that, and you can't fit in all of the cards in there. There are so many decks out there which could use this to draw the lowest cost minion in their deck, but across all of them, I didn't really see much of a point in drawing the lowest cost minion as a better result than drawing a card. In the case that someone comes around and needs to draw the lowest cost minion, then Piper will actually be good, but since I didn't see one, 2 stars. One of the obvious things you might think about Piper is pulling out your Keleseth, which could be the lowest cost minion in your deck, but if it is the lowest cost minion in your deck, you're not doing the Tempo Keleseth deck right, for 1. For 2, Piper playing in a Tempo deck, you played a 4-mana 3/3, and then 5 mana you're gonna play Keleseth. Keleseth is only really good played early. Blackwalled Pixie could see an inclusion in the Odd Taunt Warrior quest, but I myself think that despite the stat line, despite this pushing the boundary of inclusion there, that it's not gonna quite make it. So I'm gonna rate her a 2-star card, but I'm ready to be wrong on that one. Also ready to be right though. Hench Clan Thug made it onto my top 10 list, and I think it's going to help carry Tempo Rogue back into the limelight. It's a 3-mana 4/4 which continues growing. 5 stars. Marsh Drake, also great in Rogue. You either play your Keleseth on 2 or you dagger on 2, and if you daggered on 2, you play your 3-mana 5/4 on 3, and then you dagger the Drake Slayer. Taunt is a disaster for you, and I think it's worse than Hench Clan Thug, hence the lower rating of 4 stars. I only managed to put in 1 copy into my Tempo Rogue deck because you're running a lot of 3-drops. Nightmare Amalgam. What looked to be a really flexible card in all tribes is actually a really flexible card, and it turns out that dragons, I felt like, needed this because so many of the good dragons rotated out Operative and Historian. So I feel like Spiteful Priest needs this card to serve as a dragon, and it'll see play in that. 4 stars only because I'm not entirely certain whether or not Spiteful Priest will be tier 1, and whether or not the Dragon Path is the way to go, but I'm thinking it will be on both fronts, so maybe on all the cards that I'm like not sure on, such as Scale Worm and Nightmare Amalgam and Wormguard, maybe they all end up being 5-star cards. Phantom Militia, 4 stars. It's an excellent card to put into Odd Warrior Taunt. I think Odd Warrior Taunt is going to be a tier 2 deck. Pumpkin Peasant, 3 mana 2/4 or 3 mana 4/2 lifesteal, just doesn't cut it. 1 star. Ravencaller, I didn't end up putting him in my Hand Druid deck, even though I considered it. But Ravencaller does have a chance to be good in Quest Hunter, at least. With all the potential of Ravencaller across these two things, I'm going to give him at least a 2-star card. Tinglefur Mystic. It's a 3 mana 3/4, and it has a minor symmetric effect. The symmetric effect is broken in the sense that Hand Druid wants the extra card more than your opponent does, but not enough to warrant running this 3 mana 3/4 with a slight upside, I'd say. So, 1 star. Voodoo Doll. An interesting card that could see play across a variety of decks. Ultimately, I think maybe not in Q-Block, just because Q-Block is cutting the Mortal Coils. Highest probability in Warrior with the Blood Razor and Mage with the Fire Blast. And across these variety of decks that could use it, and especially an Odd Mage, which I think is going to become a tier 2 deck, I'll rate Voodoo Doll 4 stars. Walnut Sprite. And it's just a 3 mana 3/3 or a 6 mana 2/3/3s or a 9 mana 3/3/3s. 1 star. Witch's Cauldron. Just wasn't for any of my deck recipes. 1 star. Baleful Banker. In a surprise when I looked at the community ratings for cards, Baleful Banker was one of the higher ones. 1 star though. I just don't see this effect as being very powerful. Lost Spirit. It's a 2 mana 1/1. You could pull it out with Call to Arms, but you could actually pull out something better. 1 star. Spellshifter. 2 mana card with spell damage +1. Hasn't historically been good, otherwise Thalnos would be run across way more decks. So Spellshifter, 1 star. Vicious Scalehide is a constant thought for people to run with Countess Ashmore, but I feel like this card is so bad that even though your Countess Ashmore could count this for either the lifesteal or the rush, or even both, that you still wouldn't put this in your deck just to be able to draw it with your Countess Ashmore because, oh no, you might actually draw him. 1 star. Swamp Dragon Egg. Just like all the other eggs, it's not going to be good this time around, I think. Even though it's a little bit bigger. 1 star. And finally, last and least, Swamp Leech. 1 mana 2/1. Lifesteal. So good for Deathstalker Rex or bad to put into your deck. 1 star. Rapid fire ratings, go! Baku, 5 stars. Cauldron Elemental, 1 star. Deranged Doctor, 1 star. Gul'dan Royal Guard, 1 star. Splitting Fester Root, 1 star. Azalina Soul Thief, 1 star. Countess Ashmore, 4 stars. Darkmire Moonkin, 1 star. Furious Etten, 1 star. Worgen Abomination, 1 star. Wormguard, 3 stars. Gen Greymane, 3 stars. Mossy Horror, 3 stars. Chief Inspector, 3 stars. Clockwork Automaton, 1 star. Dollmaster Durian, 1 star. Muck Hunter, 3 stars. Rotten Applebaum, 5 stars. Witchwood Grizzly, 5 stars. Felsoul Inquisitor, 1 star. Life Drinker, 5 stars. Mad Hatter, 2 stars. Night Prowler, 1 star. Sandbinder, 5 stars. Scaleworm, 4 stars. Swift Messenger, 3 stars. Unpowered Steambot, 1 star. Witchwood Piper, 2 stars. Blackwalled Pixie, 2 stars. Henchclan Thug, 5 stars. Marsh Drake, 4 stars. Nightmare Amalgam, 4 stars. Phantom Militia, 4 stars. Pumpkin Peasant, 1 star. Ravencaller, 2 stars. Tinglefur Mystic, 1 star. Voodoo Doll, 4 stars. Walnut Sprite, 1 star. Witch's Cauldron, 1 star. Baleful Banker, 1 star. Lost Spirit, 1 star. Spellshifter, 1 star. Vicious Scalehide, 1 star. Swamp Dragon Egg, 1 star. And Swamp Leech, 1 star. So I think that this expansion is more powerful than many people think. I've managed to see a lot of different decks that are going to rise into the meta. You can find some of my research of the tier 1 and tier 2 lists that I've come up with in the info below. And that's reflected a bit in my ratings. I've rated this set a bit higher than the last Kobolds and Catacombs set, which was pretty powerful, with only 68 1-stars compared to 73 in my prediction last time around. And then pretty even distribution of 5s, 4s, 3s, and 2s.